I think it's more so about just being able to invade the jungle, right? Because you kind of expect you expect stacks to be made for the Medusa. We see it all the time. Definitely expect the triangle to be stacked up, and in some way having the Tide is kind of effective in that sense, right? Because you do have the Anchor Smash. Tide is one of those heroes that can clear ancient stacks very easily on his own if he needs to. Omega just may need to draft around being able to really invade that triangle and make sure that this Deucer can't freely farm up this game. They are going to go into the Snapfire, but Motivate.Trust right into the Undying and the Fearless Puck. So very confident with their own draft this game around, not taking any time to think about it. It seems like that kind of standard draft you're used to seeing from Motivate. It's literally just, let Jackie farm, we're going to get all these team fighting heroes, we're just going to fight and make space, and eventually Jack is going to come out of the jungle and be way too powerful to stop anyway. Omega, I mean, you know the game plan here for Motivate. It's just a matter of what you do about it. Right now, their draft doesn't look too bad. Like, I really like the Snapfire into the draft that Motivate does have because well, I don't know if I like that. That's a bit of a problem to me. What is it, John? What do you love about this hero so much?
You don't like Tinker? I mean, I hate playing against it, but it is very strong in the right hands. You know, the laser mischance is there to handle the Deuce's physical.
Right.
The early presence that you have with the the key, whatever it is that his new teleport is called, you know, you have such great global presence early on. Of course, it's not amazing because of the channel time scaling with levels, so you're going to need to hit level 18 to have much greater presence, but you can kind of just deal with the Deuce by playing super fast. The Tinker's not a slow hero anymore. It does kind of show up very quick. You can still kind of play, you can clear out stacks with a Tinker, with a laser as well. And Snapfire and Tide can kind of help you out with that. And just kind of take control early. So you can kind of snowball off with a Tinker, with a Snap, with a Tide. So much great team fight, so much great control here. For Motivate, I mean, there's the Puck Undying, right? This is a Q specialty Undying. We have seen him play it a lot, or set 0, very flexible between those two players. And they get a lot of impact from it. So much healing coming through, so much sustain. The Tombstone can be annoying, but Omega are kind of set to melt the Tombstone with a Snapfire already. So they've got a great way of just taking care of that big area denial from Motivate.Trust, and we're still not seeing the strongest combination with the Stone Gaze. Dream Coil is there from the Puck. It's not the most amazing. It's not that instant area denial you have, especially if Omega does split up. So I'm still wondering what they get here for Monstros to kind of compensate for that. But I feel like Omega is coming out with a stronger draft. Like the Tinker here, you don't have a direct Tinker counter. There's no Nyx, there's no Clockwork. Puck in lane can kind of handle that quite nicely. But in terms of catching this guy out once he's got a blink up and heads to the side lanes, none of your heroes can really catch that well except for the Puck.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize, by the way. I'm sure the viewers and yourself heard the dog barking, John. It's I was having something dropped off at the front, and, you know, Luna doesn't like people approaching the property very much, so hopefully she's calmed down now. I had to mute the mic for a while. She's having a sniff around, trying to figure out what's going on. Still, Motivate.Trust final pickup now. It seems like they are just lacking that Masteros hero. Never mind, she's not done, apparently. It's, I mean, Mars... No, never mind. It is not available. Is there anything in particular you'd like to see Masteros pick up?
Not many options. I think, I don't know, a Pangolier maybe? That could help them out. They go to Spirit Breaker instead. So there's something that can help you control Tinker, right? You've got charge, you've got a way to track vision on Tinker, ensure that he can't just jump in and do what he wants. The Spirit Breaker can help you manage that, and also plays with that timing you talked about earlier, Mike. Like, they want to run and gun as 4. The Spirit Breaker will enable that, along with a Puck and Weaver supports with the Undying to help you sustain. So you have a lot to play with there, but I feel like if Omega just get this pause 1 that can hold the lane against Spirit Breaker, you're fine. Like, there's still a lot of options in that sense. Not many pause 1s taken out. And you could try for Terrorblade. That can be fairly quick tempo. The early aggression coming through with the magic damage on Motivate.Trust can make that tough. But it does scale nicely and can keep up with a Dusa. If you want something with a little bit more flash farm to match a Dusa, but hits earlier timings, a Luna can also kind of show up here if they wanted to go that route, and it still plays fairly quick with a Tinker to just back up the Luna every single time. It's still fairly open for Omega, but they don't have too much time to think about it, though. Down to around 10 seconds on reserve here.
Yeah, it's looking very difficult to try and play into this here for Omega. They're going to go down the Ursa route. I mean, it definitely does well against the Spirit Breaker. Not so much against the Weaver, but you don't really care about that. think Prince should have a pretty nice time here on the Ursa, at least in the laning phase. I mean, looking at these drafts, John, it's... I don't want to say they're unique, but they certainly are a bit different to what we're used to. I personally love seeing the Spirit Breaker, mind you, Jonathan. I've been playing quite a bit of it myself, and it does feel like some very, very free MMR right now for anyone out there that is looking for a new hero to play. Pos 4 Spirit Breaker, very, very good right now. Masros, of course, is playing the Pos 3 Spirit Breaker this game around, so a bit of a Mizu special. I want to kind of reference him in this, because he does play Pos 3 SB quite a lot. Do you believe in it, John? Is it good enough to create the space that Motivate's looking for to be able to carry through this game? I mean, obviously, it's not just on Massaros, but you kind of get my point. It does feel like it's going to be a bit of a rough laning stage here against the Ursa.
Yeah, I think the Ursa is going to have a lot of ways to play around that. In terms of helping them get momentum, I think you just kind of have to ride through the laning phase, hit level 6, and it's at that point where the Spirit Breaker can go for those global ganks and just kind of back up the puck. Like, Fearless can also be really active on the puck, maybe just needs initial items up, maybe a fast fuel, so you could gun for the travels this game as well if you want that global presence. That could be really good for Fearless in tracking the Tinker and keeping that pace up. So you just kind of need to ride through the first 10 minutes, I'd say. Even then, their early laning presence from Motivate.Trust isn't too bad. You've got Undying, you've got Weaver, which can be leveraged quite nicely. For Omega, though, they have a lot playing for them. I think their spike is level 6 specifically, so not quite 10 minutes, but once you get level 6 on your snap, on your line and tide, you have a lot of team fight going through there, and you can just take over and rip through. You've also got the Ursa against Dusa matchup, which once you get a Diffusal Blade on the Ursa, yeah?
Hold on, I've got to get up for a second and quickly do something. So, I mean, I can see you've got a lot to talk about, so I'm going to leave you to it. I will be back in about 15 seconds, John. Let's hope to God there's not a level 1 team fight.
Doesn't look like it. Level 1 smoke from Omega. Gonna be wrapping around his team, but down the line, back to the point, Ursa down the line against Dusa can still actually work out until Hyper Farm comes out in Dusa. So like Ag's timing with Shard can get a bit tricky when the Dusa is there, but you have a lot of heroes to kind of try to deal with that. Again, the line's there. Has the smoke. Looks like they might catch out Q. The Weaver is slippery though, so they're not gonna commit. They're gonna cut into the high ground first, into the triangle. Fearless does spot them out. And now Motivate can collapse in. There is a nice forward ward to block out the small camp as well. Satsuru does have the decay. Could get some big decays here if he does commit. Not yet. They will come in. Van already dropping low.
Oh my god, it actually happens.
Nice stuns from Hero. No kills yet. So the wraparound came, Mike, but you didn't miss anything. They didn't get the
Every time I get distracted, there's a level 1 team fight. Luckily, John, I believe my camera work was on point while I was gone. I set it to Omega, so I think I had all the vision. And well, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you thought about the JohnXFire play-by-play, which you just.
No, you don't need to say. We know what it's like.
I need 10 more seconds. I left the front door open, John. One moment.
All right, so we're going to see the lanes break out. Just a bit of tag for the runes. Even trade in the end. Of course, we're going to take a look at the bot lane hero. On the line, he's going to be running down to join up with Van on the off lane side. They are going to be up against Set Zero on the Undying and Jackie on the Medusa. So Undying Medusa lane can be aggressive once you do get levels up. That's more on the Undying hitting, say, a level 2, level 3 spike. But you can spam out Decay and nuke down with a Mystic Snake and the Soul Rip. So you can play in that way, but the control coming out, the presence from these two heroes with Tide line. Level 1, not amazing. But once you hit, say, level 2 as well, it's pretty big. And you have to watch yourself for Set Zero. Does have 2 mangoes to kind of play tag with, but doesn't want to trade directly with level 1 Gush from Van. So that Gush just drops your Undying all the way down to minus armor. That's never a good point for any sports kind of trading. Still, gonna be a stable start, and I don't really see Jackie managing to completely overwhelm the lane. At the same time, if Set Zero manages to secure these first 2 levels, then he should be giving Jackie a little bit more space to build up here.
Oh, thank you very much for that, John. Apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen. Bit of a... don't want to say it's an emergency kind of break there from me, but I had to get out there and sort out what needed to be sorted out. Still, we'll have a look at the mid lane, John. Of course, you've got Fearless against Piols there on the Tinker and the Puck. Of course, you know, John, every time we have a Tinker in the game, it's mandatory for me to talk about how terrible this hero is. So Piols unfortunately forced to play this Tinker hero. Now, you seem to think during the drafting phase that this was a good pick. Now, of course, this was before the Spirit Breaker came out in your defense. do you still think it's a good pick now against the draft of Motivate?
I think it still works. The Spirit Breaker does put a bit of a dent in it, so Pialt is gonna have to be a bit defensive with how he postures himself when he comes out. Maybe you work towards a, I don't know, some sort of self-protection. A Eul's could help out, although you don't normally see Tinker Eul's, but you have to find a way to kind of dodge out that initiation. And once you have a tool to get that done, you feel pretty safe. Mid matchup isn't too bad for Pialt, although Fearless has kind of worked this lane out in his favor, and he has to watch himself. Dropping really low here, Fearless.
Yeah, Rocket's out as well, but in the meantime, Prince is the one who secures first blood. Up at the top lane on the Ursa, Q the one to go down to the Weaver, which is something I didn't expect to really say or be seeing here, is you'd think the Weaver would have Sakuchi to just be able to get away, but not quite the case. So Omega, they managed to secure first blood on the Ursa of all people, and that's definitely a fantastic start for the Dire side.
Yeah, I mean, you've got this great combination with Snapfire Ursa for Omega. Right, you can kind of Earthshock in, get the cookie out as well down the line. Once that's leveled up, of course, even with just a little Shredder and Scatterblast, you have a lot of burst, and they've got this nice sentry to watch the Shikuchi, so they can kind of punish the forward movement out from Q. For Motivate.Trust, this can be a lane that works up its aggression with the Swarm up and running, so if you look to play aggressive, get some bashes off, you can kind of take control. The issue is you might not want to necessarily jump the Ursa. He is fairly tanky, and he can fight back with a Fury Swipes. You're relying on a chance-based stun to kind of win out those trades.
He's at 0 now, going down at the bot lane, so the Undying getting caught out here. Van and Hero able to set up. It can be a little bit rough for the Undying against this kind of duo as well. Like, you need to get aggressive for the Medusa, and you need to just kind of be at the front, annoying Van on this side. But it is rather easy for them to turn around and just pick you off if you don't have that Soul Rip available. I suppose set 0, in some sense, dying was a positive thing because Fearless did need the bottle refill, and he probably needed a reset on the Undying anyway.
Yeah. Just one of those things with the Undying, you kind of want to melt your mana, get some presence. PL, though, in danger.
Tombstone down. They're going to try and fight, but no, he's fine. It's Fearless that's in danger. He'll try to Waning Rift, in fact, he'll all back the other way. In the meantime, they found PLs in the Tinker, and Fearless will survive throughout all of it. So in the end, it was a confident play, but does pay off for Motivate.Trust. Though I got to tell you, it looked very scary there for a moment, at least for Fearless.
Yeah, and not only that, the commitment from Motivate.Trust also cuts off and gets both bottle water runes up for Fearless. So he gets basically reset in the mid lane, manages to hold out, and it was a bit of a back and forth start for Fearless. This evens it out by a great amount. So PL is going to be playing on back foot now. EXP disadvantage for him, as Motivate.Trust does get a really great set of kills. Like, just bullying the Tinker early on is the key to the game. You don't want the Tinker to get a running start to level 6. That early rotation does mean it's going to be a bit slower going for Pialds. Of course, they are building up stacks, and that is something the Tinker can clear out. So there's still some catch-up farm here for Omega to fall back to, and there's no forward vision yet for Motivate.Trust to cut that off. So I think for MTG, they've got to watch the stacks coming through. They've got to have it in their mind that with a Tinker up, those stacks are fairly easy to clear out once levels are up.
But they are. Top lane, Prince. In danger, but Zenki gonna be there with the cookie. Q. He thought about going a little bit further, but just didn't have the Sakuchi available at the time. So the end Prince gonna be salved up, and we'll be able to reset just fine in this top lane. And apart from that first blood that occurs there for Prince, it does seem like Masros is having a very good time on the Spirit Breaker. The 26 and 8 in terms of last hits, he really hasn't struggled whatsoever. And again, they get first blood onto Q, but Masros having this good of a time against a Snapfire Ursa, I mean, you've got to be satisfied with that.
Yeah, you're feeling good. You're going to hit your level 6 spike on the Spirit Breaker soon, and that's when the aggression can really kick in. You're not being punished for having a bit of a slower laning duo, right? You've got the Weaver up. The synergy with Spirit Breaker is not amazing beyond just the minus armor and the mobility you have on hand, so you are still getting a lot there from Motivate.Trust. For the side of Omega, I don't think they mind too much. As long as Prince still builds up, you're okay. If you're going to hit your defusal timing fairly well, you're getting some good EXP for Zenki as well for a pause 5. So the kisses are going to be up in a timely fashion. And once that kisses line up with a Ravage on Van, you can look for the bigger team fights. Although it is a bit of a concern with how little Van is getting from his lane relative to Masros. He's about 6 CS behind. He's not really slowing down Jackie as well. Same thing with Prince, right? So Jackie's keeping up with the Ursa farm. And that's a bit of an issue because Medusa can flash farm a little bit faster than Ursa. Those camps are just so much easier to clear out. Omega is doing a good job of constantly blocking the triangle though, but the charge is coming through here.
Oh, Masteros, he doesn't get bashed by the Roshan. Lucky him. Zenki, he's going to go down. I had the unfortunate experience the other day, John, of charging to a very important team fight and got bashed by Roshan first hit. So I get very concerned when I see a Spirit Breaker just charging through the Roshan because Roshan, he seems to have more than 17%.
Oh yeah. Still clearing out the stacks, but the TPs are coming in to contest this.
Yeah, Prince, I mean, he's going to try, but the stacks are already gone. Fearless, he will drop for this though. So definitely not too bad of a trade there. Van will take the kill on the Tide, and in the meantime, they're even going to find Q. So you lose the stacks, but you get 2 kills out of it, 1 on the mid puck. It really doesn't seem that bad.
No, it's not bad for either side. It's still a good chunk of gold coming out from Motivate, but Kjol's finding the kill, making it in time, still makes it worthwhile for Omega, as they will still be able to keep farming up in the lower camps, still build up on that Tinker. Kjol's, yeah, he's at that point with level 7, with a Keen Conveyance up. He's just rushing a Blink. So once you've got that Blink on your Tinker, you can take much more aggressive postures on the map. You can join some fights, you can farm a bit safer, blinking into the tree line, and just constantly building up. Motivate, though, they're starting to get a bit more of a grip on the map. They drop some forward wards, they're keeping track of the triangle, they spot out the Ancient stack as well. And that's something that Omega can't afford to give out, so at some point Motivate can look to run up there, but they don't have a clear angle to do so yet, which is to the benefit of Omega. It's still a really even game so far from the laning phase, 3-4, slight lead for Omega. But you are still finding really good farm in Jackie, and Fearless has been building up on his puck. So, you know, it's still kind of swinging both ways, but you have to remember the spikes for Motivate are a little bit earlier with their 4 heroes, and they're just going to keep leveraging this charge for vision.
Oh, I got him that time. I knew it was coming, Masteros. He'll get bashed by the Roshan. I mean, you fool Roshan once, John. You can't fool him twice. He'll get you.
Yeah, he finds you in the end, but they managed to still use that space mid. Tombstone cutting off the defense for now. They will get Van to TP in. He still has Ravage, but not quite the mana. They can't quite force a big fight. They will hold on to mid. It's down to half HP though. So Motivate.Trust has done a good job of just constantly poking that objective, and Omega has to be careful. They can't afford to bleed that one out all too early here.
Things are still going well though. I mean, just a very even game between these two teams, and you pointed out Jackie, and he should be able to flash farm on the... In fact, hold that thought, because Piols now has been caught out by his tier 2 tower. They do have Dream Coil, but they won't commit quite yet. In fact, now they might be in danger. Fearless, he does get Earth spiked up, but they already committed the Hex. I suppose for Omega, keeping that Tinker alive is much more important than securing the kill onto Fearless anyway. Piols, he still has a while to grow and be that real nuisance Tinker that we're used to seeing. So at least a little bit more till he has the blink up, and then he can get a little bit more aggressive.
Yep. And that's the point where, of course, our Tinker just gets so much more presence in these engagements. This kind of back and forth was opening up a lot of space for the pause points, as you're seeing in the net worth. Prince #1 right now, slightly ahead of Jackie, but Jackie's a Sedusa. Now he holds a lane, he clears out, he's got maxed out Split Shot, maxed out Mystic Snake, so wave clearing's a lot faster for Dusa. Eventually this back and forth might favor Jackie in terms of net worth, but the Ursa getting some early timings can be very scary. With the Diffusal coming through here for Prince is going to be really big. You'll melt through the Dusa shield if he does show up, you'll get control with the Inhibit coming out with the slow. So I think it's to the benefit of Omega to get this free farm for Prince, because he's going to be able to show up a lot faster than Jackie can. And for Jackie, sure, he doesn't need to show up, but he will have to play 4 versus 5 against these pretty well-farmed heroes on Omega relatively soon.
PL's just farming the Ancient stacks now. You gotta love this laser bouncing garbage. Just doesn't make any sense to me, but, you know, the Tinker players, they love it. They love this kind of crap. PL's. The beauty is, John, he's smoked, so the Ancients never wake up either. You know, these Tinker players, they always find those small little tricks to get even more of a, become even more of a nuisance.
Yeah, and that's going to be his blink goal. They do trade their top tier 1, as they didn't commit for the defense. They are instead looking to posture for that bot tier 1 here for Omega. They do drag down Prince as well. The Fusel flying in, so a bit of a spike again for Ursa, and Van is still holding on to Ravage. They can force a bit of a fast team fight. And once more, with the blink up and P-ults, he can just join in. Apply that pressure, spam out the laser, spam out the rockets. The charge will come out for some vision. I don't know if MTG can really commit for the full defense with just 2 heroes. But they will go push mid. So that mid tier 1 might fall in exchange for that bot tier 1 here.
They're TPing, they're going to try and fight. Fearless, he's got the coil up along with the Veil of Discord. Charges there on the Ursa. There's your initiation. Coil's committed as well. Orb out. Have they got anyone though? There's your Ravage being committed to keep Prince safe as now they'll turn back onto Q. They'll find one. Motivate, they're not backing off quite yet. Piols is here though, they've got to be very cautious as now Van, he's just frontlining for the team. MG.Trust gets hexed up, Mortimer's Kiss is in, he never got the bulldoze off. So that status resist just never came in. If you've got a delayed team fight like that against the Tinker, you are probably going to lose in the end.
Yeah, just so much damage the Tinker does in such a wide area over time. Like, you can't take that sustained sort of fight. They will find a bot tier 1 here on Omega side. The benefit here for Motivate.Trust is they already found a mid. So Jackie managed to get that solo push by himself. The Dusa is building up to the point where it is kind of ahead of the Ursa by 1k gold. Not a big amount, but it is sort of ramping up. The triangle's very well protected from Motivate.Trust. With a mid tier 1 missing as well, it's going to be a bit harder for Omega to invade that area. And Jackie has a good spot to farm up. So you are securing your Deuce's farm. I don't think Motivate.Trust needed to take that bot fight. They took a massive risk by jumping in and just didn't manage to lock in the Ursa, to lock in the Tinker. They got caught out in the Ravage as well. So Omega just managing to make that work. And they do take the kill lead, 3-6, but the net worth is still in Motivate.Trust's favor. But that is only on Jackie. So you have to kind of find a way to keep that gold flowing, especially on a Spirit Breaker. I think Spirit Breaker is one of those heroes that is deceptively farm heavy, if you think about it, right? Like, you need a Shadow Blade to get that presence out, you need a BKB, and down the line you'll need Ags as well, right? For that great presence with a charge, for the BKB piercing of that spell as well, you're going to need some farm. So some gold has to flow out to these other heroes and Motivate.Trust at some point. For now, it's all in on Jackie. Let's see if he'll be able to get some space out for the other cores down the line.
Yeah, I agree about the sentiment with the Spirit Breaker. I mean, it is one of those more farm-heavy heroes to go for, especially in this current meta. But once you get to the stage where you do have the Axe up, there is no more of a broken hero than this SB, I'll tell you. It just becomes ridiculous, as now they found Prince and Hero. And Zenki, he's going to try and run. MG.Trust, oh, he doesn't get the hit off. We'll never know if that was a bash or not, but I believe it wasn't. But going back to my point, John, once the Aghanim Scepter is available on this Spirit Break, it feels like the team fight's become impossible after that, because you've just got this constant just charging over and over again throughout the team fight, throughout the whole team. And MG.Trust, obviously, he's opted to go for the Shadow Blade first to have some actual kill potential here on this breaker, but I think he might skip the BKB and go for Ags. I mean, right now he has the BKB queued up. We'll see if he commits to it.
I feel like he will need a BKB if he's trying to jump, say, the Tinker. And there's still a lot of good hold against that Spirit Breaker with a Hex on the line. Even a Cookie and a Ravage can kind of help you out there. So there are some ways to protect the Tinker here as long as he's around some allied heroes. So I think that spell immunity is going to be very important for MG.Trust to keep that early aggression up and then kind of switch to the Ags online. It's just a tempo buildup, right? They know they're going to be playing for the long game, so you need to buy space for that long game for the Dusa, and it's going to be down to the Spirit Breaker getting some early items up to maintain presence. So I think he's going to have to stick to that. With a Shadow Blade up, though, he's got even more presence, right? Like, you can charge safely through without being revealed as long as there are no sentries around. The coverage of Omega in terms of sentries isn't amazing yet. They will look to play with a smoke here on Omega's side. They've got Ravage back up. No blink on Van, so it can be a bit tough initiating, but they've got that Tinker jumping around here. There's some good damage to work with on Omega.
Yeah, Diffusal Blade up on Prince, so a bit of a power spike now as they are going to run into Q, but he'll secure Chi away. Motivate, not looking like they're willing to take a fight, but Jackie is going to stick around as now Van Try and chase down Set Zero, but there's your Tombstone being dropped. Van, he still has the Ravage, so he'll go after that Tombstone first, and the Mortimer's Kisses are going to take care of the Undying. Though in the meantime, they found the Tinker. Where's the Ravage? He's still hitting the Tombstone. Van. I mean, they get Fearless anyway, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 in the mids. Zenki will drop to Q to boot. And I suppose the patience does get rewarded in the end, is they won't have to use that big ult.
Yeah, it's still a bit painful losing your Tinker though. Like, you want that build up on that hero. You want to hit that Axe timing as well for Peels. So having him drop there, being isolated from the rest of the team is tough. And that does show them the Shadow Blade. And that should mean we're going to see more sentry coverage coming through from Omega. And maybe more emphasis on actually keeping themselves within a good distance to that Tinker. Because you've got to kind of ensure Peels is not caught out to really have that prolonged advantage. Masaros again with the charge though.
Yep, going straight in to Zenki, but they've got sentry wards around. They know it's coming. Now Prince might just try to turn onto Set Zero. He'll get the Undying. Cookie not going to be on the mark, but he can keep trying for this chase. As again, they have the Ravage. They're more than happy to force a big team fight. In fact, they found another. Q, he's going to try and go onto the Lion. They'll get one. Masaros, he'll go into the Snapfire now. They'll find another. There's your Ravage, but where's the follow-up? They do at least get Fearless down, and now maybe Q as well. But he'll time-lapse away. Back the other way. Jackie, he's around to try and help out. He'll try, but the rocket spam has begun. And with that, they will not want to fight too much longer. As Q barely gets out with his life intact. Masaros will charge down to the bot lane. In the end, the only man to drop here for Motivate is going to be Fearless.
They still managed to get a support trade from it, but dropping your puck is also not to the benefit of Motivate.Trust. So Omega is still going to be decently happy about it. They're starting to collapse down bot.
A nice Hex initiation. It's very hard to get away from that as the Spirit Breaker if you're not predicting it with the Bulldoze. And well, naturally, they had no vision to see Hero running in like that. You are indeed correct, John. It does seem like they are going to try and go for the BKB up first. And well, I suppose seeing that happen to him against the Lion, you probably need it at this point. Seems like Omega, they are well and truly aware of how to play against this off-lane Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, I think there's just no going around it for Masaros. He needs a BKB up, he needs to be able to maintain the presence, and without that spell immunity, it's very tough. The side of Omega are still lagging behind net worth though. Jackie has been using the space to great effect. About a 3k net worth lead for the Deuce now. That can be a major item as it builds up. Scotty coming through next for Jackie. And he hasn't been contested. His laning phase went okay. His triangle is still basically uncontested from Omega. And I think that can be an issue. Sure, you're finding some of these skirmish wins for Smart Omega, but Motivate.Trust still have this big ace up their sleeve with the Dusa, and you're not quite keeping up in farm as you'd want. Like, the Tinker kind of wants to be a bit further ahead than this right now. The Ags is still on its way. It's almost done, so that's some good news for Omega right there. But you have to be careful about giving too much space to Jackie. We've seen teams do this before. They're winning fights, but they're leaving alone Jackie's hero. He just kind of becomes way too big once he does join in later on.
Yeah, eventually. Part of the plan for Motivate, I suppose, as Jackie has just been untouched this whole game. He's 0-0-0 with 286 last hits, so literally no impact so far. Zvan, oh, they're going to just wait out this Weaver initiation, and they are going to punish Q immediately. Zenki will be able to secure the kill on the Snapfire. And Omega, I mean, they're the ones that need to try and make a play, and they are going to smoke up as 3. Maybe head to that mid lane where they do spot Jackie. He's already at the point where he's almost got the Eye of Skadi up. He's really not that squishy of a target to burst down anymore. But I suppose if you get the disables off, you'll have enough, as now Masaros, this time around, is going to have the Bulldoze. So is going to be able to escape. In the meantime, though, there's the eggs up on Peels. So things get extremely annoying now if you are Motivate.Trust.
Yeah, that's the big spike that we were looking for. So you've got to deal with the Shrink Ray on the laser. Much more damage coming through with the HP reduction as well. Kind of acting like their own Undying effect there. Still, Motivate.Trust going to be smoking up here. could kind of sneak out a Roshan. Surprised Omega hasn't gone for that yet. They won't. And Jackie is out of smoke, so he's walking directly under vision. Van does have a Ravage with a blink, but they are going to play it safe here on Omega for now.
Yeah, Van's just being very patient here and just waiting for that right opportunity. They won't throw it onto Q. And that's just complete bait here from Motivate. Another smoke up. Hero, he's in position to try and make the jump in onto the puck. And that'll be the target they want. But now Jackie's shown up as well. So they're going to really try and force this fight. Van. Tombstone will be forced down here thanks to Van, but that is still going to create even more time and space for Jackie to keep going onto this tier 2 top tower. The problem is you are still against the Tinker. Like, Fearless is going to find them. Does get the Dream Coil off, and here comes the chant. They really want PL's dead, but they've got Fearless trapped up now. Stun is there, Cookie to follow up, and Fearless is going to drop. Charge is still going here onto the Tinker, but Masteros, he was way too far away. He'll keep trying, but does he have the damage? I don't think he will. PL's, no, he will eventually go down. Q, able to pick up the kill on the Weaver, but it's going to cost them a lot of bodies. Triple kill the way of Prince. I suppose on the bright side, they got the tier 2 top tower, and that does open up the outpost. That's a lot of golden XP you gave back the way of the Ursa, though, and he's going straight for that Roshan.
It's a bit of a late time for the Ursa on the Roche. Still going to be a big objective to take. Mind you, Motivate.Trust, it looks like Jackie might be able to spot it out for the illusion. They are aware, but they don't have to hear us contest. Still, Roche not melting as fast as you'd want. Respawns are going to be back up. Fearless is back up. No Dream Coil yet. Can be a bit hard to try to play for Snatch there, but Jackie's running in.
Yeah, I mean, Eye of Scardy's available, and Stone Gaze was up, so he wants to try and deny this. So that's why they were going after that top tier 2 tower, is to try and take the outpost and steal the Roshan here for Motivate. Omega trying to just take the Roshan before that outpost is taken away from them. Charge in, they're going to find the Snapfire, but no real committal quite yet. The Dream Coil is now back up for Fearless. In the meantime, though, you've got to get rid of this Tinker. And they know PLs is going to be way too big of an issue if they leave him be. You need that big charge out. You need the follow-up. You can't allow Fearless to die for free like that again, just trying to chase down this Tinker. I suppose now with the Yules up, he is going to be a little bit more slippery on this puck. But Prince, he still wants to try and force this. Charges out from Masteros to give some vision, but of course it is going to be cancelled. Motivate, they have successfully delayed the Roshan time.
Yeah, it's not going to be safe for Omega to take. They know that Motivate.Trust are willing to toss their bodies forward, and there's some back and forth team fight there. I think for Motivate.Trust, of course, they've got that Stone Gaze, they've got the Dream Coil. Although Stone Gaze is still down for 10 seconds. They will smoke. They kind of want to look for a pick off first, but they're going to have to climb up onto the high ground.
Unless...
just sneak a Roshan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say, John. Why not just sneak the Roshan? They have no idea this is happening. Omega, they've got to check Van. Oh, he's too late. He went for the double damage rune, and now he realizes his Masteros is going to charge right in onto the Tide. Earth spikes off the mark, but they won't go any further. Motivate, they don't really have the catch right now. They don't really have the options for the catch. They got the Aegis though. And denying that away from Omega just means more time that Jackie can just grow this net worth lead. Now he's already 5k ahead of Prince, so you give him 600 gold more, he's going to have the Ags up, and then it just becomes impossible.
Oh yeah, that's a scary point. Once the Ags is there, once that stone form is flying around with a Mystic Snake, your Earth is going to have some major kiting issues in the front line. You can kind of play against that, but all the stat resist you have with the S and Y and with the Enrage, but it's still a tough game for the Ursa, and that's where he kind of falls flat. Once you can ensure that the Ursa can't actually jump anyone, you can kind of easily manage him. You also get this Ags timing on Q, so time lapse is there to protect Jackie, and Deuce is one of the best heroes to kind of time lapse back, because he has a lot of durability to play with, so there's a lot that you can bring out here because you reset her HP and mana pool. And having that Aegis up, it's going to be so tough to actually focus down Jackie. You have to jump Q first to clean up these fights.
Hero.
And for Omega, they just haven't been able to get those good jumps in their own terms. They've always been counterfighting here.
Hero's got some great wards down here, John. He just barely found Masteros, who was invis shadowbladed up, and well, PL's going to try and bait Masteros forward, and never mind Hero. He's found the target they wanted. But the problem is you've got to react to this mid-tier 2 tower push now. So a great start here for Omega. They'd love to try and force a fight right now, but they may not have time to get there, and it looks like they will not. So Jackie, he will freely take that tier 2 mid. And I honestly can't say it's really worth for Omega.
No, it opens up an avenue for the high ground on Motivate.Trust. And sure, you're killing off Masteros, stalling out the Ags timing, but you don't really get much from that kill. They can't push tier 2 of their own on the side of Omega. They're forced to react to the shove-in, and for Motivate.Trust, they still have Aegis for a bit longer. They will smoke his tree. They could look for a bit of a pick-off. Maybe catch a Tinker off guard if they do manage to get a good position here, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to find anything big just yet. No forward vision from Motivate.Trust in the triangle, so no real angles to get. But they are showing Hero on the off lane. Still manages to run out in time, so smoke doesn't amount to much, but that lead from Motivate.Trust just keeps building up. The Medusa is still a massive issue. Going straight for the MKB next, just so that the laser won't do as much in terms of mischance. So Jackie's just going to be able to ignore the laser down the line, even when the Mantis expended, and still do the damage he wants to in front. And also has the Ag chart up. So you've got the bouncing back Mystic Snake with the Ags upgrade. So much stone form. Not going to be easy for the Ursa to just stand there and fight.
That's a very tough position now, again, for Omega. As they're setting up, they'll get started, but all they can do is just hope to chip away at Jackie's HP pool. He won't care. He just continues. Onto the bot tier 2 is Omega. They are going to loop around all the way at the back. Try to surprise them. Find those supports first. Motivate, though, still just hanging in the tree line with perfect vision on this high ground. Could be a pretty detrimental start here for Omega. Who have they made the jump on? Nobody quite yet. They know it's not favorable. They've got to back out. Motivate, they're having a look though. Jackie, he's going to find Van. Jackie alone right now. But again, they just can't make the jump on the Deucer, even as 5. The Stone Gaze is just going to put a stop to all of it. And they're just unable to find the jump. I mean, Jackie can just walk in freely. They can't kill him. They have to go for the back instead, and they found one. Set Zero's down. PL's, he's going to blink away as now Hero will be focused down. Jackie will take care of that one, no problem. In the meantime, Prince, he has been scouted out. Ravage is there, though. They'll hold down 2. They'll burst down Masteros. Can they find the rest, though? Stone Gaze is out. Jackie, he wants PL's down on that Tinker, but he's going to haste rune. Never mind, he doesn't. He will drop eventually. He almost found Q, but not quite enough. Prince, he does at least get a dieback on the Undying. Has found a triple kill on the Ursa. But again, they haven't found the main target they really wanted.
No, they just can't isolate Jackie, can't do the damage onto him. And Motivate.Trust are going to be happy with that trade. 3 for 2, counting the dieback. At the same time, you save your Juicy, you kill off the Tinker, you stall out the saving items for Tinker, which is going to be the Yules here. So it's going to be tough for Piols without that sort of combo breaker on hand. Just ulting out with the Mystic Snake, ulting out with Silence is so important for the Tinker. And it is almost up, so you will get that spike on your Tinker soon. But the question is really, how do you manage to do so? Jackie, MKB is almost done. Not looking to further the stats, just further the damage output. And it will start to skyrocket. The presence of Prince is still good, but he just doesn't have the angle to focus on do a fight. You just can't stand there and do what you want. Maybe once the Satanic is finished up, with a self-dispel, it gives you more options with your Enrage. And it is almost up, so Prince is going to hit a really good spike with that item build up as well. They just need a patience here. Double damage does spawn on mid, neither side really spotting it out yet, and that Yules is done on Tinker, so he can play it a bit more aggressive. Blink Yules, then kind of blink out again and live these fights and kind of stall out as much as possible playing on the backline hole.
He makes the jump in on Fearless, baiting him in with that double damage rune, but the Yules was there. It's the one thing for PLs, right? Like this Tinker, it's a really tough game. Every item he gets, it seems nice, but the problem is you have so many angles that you can approach this Tinker from. And speaking of, well, Masteros, he's not going to quite find the Tinker, but he did find Van. Problem is Kraken Shell. We'll just purge off the stuns, and Van will walk away freely. But back to my point, John. For PLs, he's got to worry about the puck, he's got to worry about the Weaver, he's got to be worried about Masteros on the Spirit Breaker. And of course, with the Mystic Snake petrifying him now as well with the Ags, he's going to be worried about that. It's just not an easy Tinker game whatsoever.
Definitely isn't. I suppose he can kind of protect himself a little bit more if he can use the defense matrix before he's stunned, so he has a bit more of a window with a 50% stat resist. I'm actually curious how much stat resist Prince gets when he does get the defense matrix on. With the SNY and when he pops on Enrage, that should be a lot. I think it's multiplicative, so it's not as much as you'd expect. Maybe it hits around 80%. But it's still a ton. Like, you can't actually lock in these heroes if they manage to get that defense matrix off. And it's not the priority spell for PLs to use, but I think in this game, it has to be. Like, you have to be able to save yourself and your teammates. You have to ensure your Ursa's just not going to be stun locked in front and that you're not just stun locked in front. And they haven't found a way of doing that yet. Just playing super safe. It still really benefits Motivate.Trust to play at a slower pace, as Jackie's just ridiculous. MKB up, pretty much fully slotted. Could go for the Hurricane Pike upgrade and ditch the boots for something else. Maybe a Satanic to just stay in the front line if he feels like he needs it. Or just go for a Daedalus for more damage. You could kind of hit that point now. And for Omega, I mean, it's still slow going for Prince. He's also going for his own MKB. I'm not sure if that's necessary. Maybe he's expecting a butterfly on Jackie at some point. But Jackie has not queued one up yet, so could be a expensive item to commit to if there's no counter for it. Still charge?
Not going to lead to much. I mean, the MKB is going to at least help with Jackie's level 10 talent. He does have the 15% evasion. So you've got some evasion that I'm sure is going to be very annoying for the Ursa. Prince, you know, the damage doesn't hurt too much either, I think. He needs everything he can get right now. The thing is, it's not really a problem of the Ursa, I don't think. It's a problem of actually just deleting everyone else around Jackie and being able to focus down the Medusa in the end. Which we just haven't seen yet. It's obviously a lot easier said than done, but that's kind of what you need to do. Jackie needs to be the last man standing, and then you can just kind of focus down the Medusa. But they just can't do that right now because everyone else on Motivate just so slippery apart from maybe the Undying.
That they are. I think for Omega, the key here to pick off first is actually Q. Like, you have to take care of the Weaver, remove the time lapse as a factor. But Q is always playing so far from back and they're just running forward with a Spirit Breaker instead and with a puck. And that makes it really hard to ensure that the second life doesn't come through for most of these heroes. Still smoke coming out here on Omega's side. And try to find what they can. Still a bit blind. Motivate.Trust playing on the right side of the jungle, holding the high ground, so they've got the vision advantage.
They thought they were rushing, but they were wrong. Tombstone is going to be dropped on the high ground. They've already found that Snapfire out of position. In the meantime, Jackie, he's going to try and go onto Hero. They found the Lion. Big Ravage on the high ground, but they missed Fearless. He phase shifted it off. That's going to mean Zenki goes down on the Snapfire. Prince, he's just going to try and run. They are just controlling and kiting him up. Eventually, he will get away with the Enrage, but Jackie, he's going to have his way with Van now. And the Snapfire kisses are coming in, but they're really doing nothing. Jackie's still full mana. Prince, he's still trying, but the charge is right through from Masteros. And Masteros is on an Ultra, trying for a Rampage. Jackie, he will give it away. Masteros, he'll take it himself. Rampage up for the Spirit Breaker, as now they can just go for more. A big cleanup on the way is another nice charge out from Masteros onto PLs. That'll be your Tinker gone. Van and Zenki trying to get their way out. A double Rampage jump from Masteros. I'll tell you, John, you might want to call it. This game is well and truly over. I don't think there's any coming back from this game number 1 here against Motivate.
Yeah, it's a toughie. I think Omega and Tinker pick looked good, then the Spirit Breaker came out, they didn't ban it out, so they had a way of just jumping the Tinker every time. They were very well protected with the Weaver down as well. There were just so many targets Omega had to jump first, and they just couldn't. They had to take care of Weaver, they had to take care of Puck. They have to always be wary of the Spirit Breaker. There's just too much to track, and it's very difficult for Omega to juggle that around. Even if your Ursa could jump in as well, he's very easily kiteable with the Ag's Dusa build. They just had a counter for it on the Motivate.Trust side. So if they take one set of racks, they'll take another. They could go for the full Mega Creeps, but let's see if they commit. Respawns are coming up soon. No Ravage. Makes this a lot easier, though. Looks like they will just play it safe. Take 2 racks, reset. Roshan is back up. Rosh number 2 with the Ag Shard and Aegis. So they can just kind of jump in there for real, take it, knowing there's no Ravage, and go high ground again.
Nothing to stop them now. See who they give the shards over to. I guess at this point it doesn't really matter who gets it. In fact, it might just be Masteros. He gets... No, he already has one. Never mind. Who wants it? They literally just left it. Fearless? He'll go back for it himself.
Yeah. So he's got that Waning Rift upgrade with pushback. A little bit of damage coming through. And the Invis reveal. Very nice coming through, like a handy dust. So that kind of frees up his dust slot in these fights. Still 21k lead for Motivate.Trust. Bouncing back after that last series in strong form. Omega still have high ground to play for. With her Tinker, that can be a factor. It's not like it's particularly amazing, though, right? You know, you don't have the march of the machines constantly flying out anymore. Even if you go for the shard, it's not as strong as it once was. So you are relying more on just clearing out with a laser. It just kind of feels limited right now for the side of Omega. So many tools on Motivate. They've got the blink up on Jackie flying out. He's going for the Swift blink as well, the upgrade. I think he has the gold to buy it out if he wants to.
Yeah.
So you can't just instantly have that added attack speed, more mobility on hand. How do you kill the Dusa? Like, you just can't.
I haven't had an answer to that question for the last 15-20 minutes, John. So Van blinks aggressively. That's about all he's doing. Even with all this rocket and laser spam, it's slowly chipping away Jackie's HP, but, you know, not quite enough to really be concerned, I'd say. He just continues to spam out Mystic Snakes over and over again. Hero, he's going to delay a little bit with the Hex out, but the Dream Coil's there. They only got Van on the Tidehunter, but Masteros, he's right in. Onto the backside, he's already got Hero down. Prince, he's going to try. He might get the first life here from Jackie, but no, the time lapse is out. Jackie gets a little bit of a reset, but will die once. Meanwhile, Omega, who else do they go for? Well, the answer is nobody. They'll be happy with the Aegis for now. They'll go back to the fountain, reset and try again. Problem is, Megas are coming, so they've got to make the jump in, and they go with the Ravage up. Lasers being spammed out as well, but the BKB is going to be there from Jackie, and now the cleanup gets started. He's already taken down 1, make it 2, make it 3, and maybe make it 4. As PLs, he's trapped up in the tree line. That's a full team wipe, and the GG has been called. Omega, they tried, but there was no really taking down this Medusa.
They had an interesting idea here from Omega in this first game, of course. They had this really nice Tinker pick. It looked nice until the Spirit Breaker came out, and then all the answers were there for Motivate.Trust. And for Omega's side, they might have needed to play a little bit faster. Like we saw the Roshan, their first attempt was at like 22 minutes. Ideally, with an Ursa, you go in by 15, maybe even earlier if you have a really good start. And Omega did get off to a pretty strong start. They were having decent times in their lanes. They managed to match the farm pace of Jackie for a very long time. But then they stalled this game out for too long, and they never killed off Jackie. They just let that Dusa flash farm the entire time. The triangle was completely uncontested from Omega's side. They just never ran up there. And that slower pace of game just benefited Motivate.Trust. Eventually, they hit this big timing on Masteros. Once he had the Shadow Blade, he was much more active on the map. And then you had the time lapse on the Ags Weaver. So even if you could jump Jackie, there's always that time lapse play. And there's just too much for Omega to kind of track to find an opening there.
Absolutely. Well, that's game 1, John. Game 2 will be coming up after a 10-minute break, so we'll head off to that break, and we'll be back with game 2 between Motivate.Trust and, of course, Omega Esports.